Hello and welcome back to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking yet another look at Tekken 3, released in 1997 on the Namco System 12 arcade hardware, but this time we're actually going to be playing as the game's final boss, True Ogre. Although, in this game, they call him Ogre. The only thing you'll notice here is, as opposed to when you play the game with any other character, you kind of just get this like darkness all around the arena. It's most likely because the game can't render, well, the hardware can't render the full 3D backgrounds and the complex geometry that True Ogre here actually uses, without some kind of slowdown or compromises to the frame rate. So they basically opted to pretty much get rid of the backgrounds. And now the funny thing here is, I remember when I'd done my other gameplays, I was first thinking to myself, oh, I'm just going to do a gameplay with True Ogre and I'm going to get right through without a problem. But the problem is like, unfortunately, he's kind of one of those like big tank characters. So he's just big and has a lot of powerful attacks. But the problem is, if you like fight against a character like Huorong or any character who can do like really fast moves, they can easily go faster than Ogre can, and then they'll just like beat you very easily. So it's like any of these big tank characters in like a fighting game. You kind of have to be really careful when you're actually trying to play as one of these characters, because
Round one.
the faster characters will easily beat you. And unfortunately, it looks like, as far as like losses in this gameplay, it was like, if I count them up, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 different losses I actually had to edit out. And that's one of those moves, like when I actually like accidentally discovered the flying up in the air with the fire, I was thinking, oh wow, that move like terribly like kills everybody so easily. The only problem is in order for that move to be effective, your enemy has to be at a certain like distance, and if they sidestep or anything, it just won't hit them at all. So it's one of those moves that's kind of hard to hit them with. But the cool part is, True Ogre here also has a standing fire, where he'll just stand and then move his head back and forth and breathe the fire.
Round one.
And I remember when I had faced Mokujin here, I was thinking to myself, honestly, since Mokujin is made out of wood, the fire should be an instant kill move, because, you know, it's wood. If you set the wood on fire, it's done. But of course, that would have made the game too easy, because, you know, just making the character die. But I just thought that'd be funny if Mokujin like instantly died if it got hit by the fire, which would make it especially a challenge if you were playing as Mokujin. You'd have to be really careful when you were facing True Ogre that it didn't use the fire on you, or you would get killed really quickly. But if you didn't see any of my last 3 arcade videos with Tekken 3, this is actually running on the original Namco System 12 arcade board, and this version came out in the arcades in 1997. And if you really don't know much about Namco System 12, it's basically an upgraded original PlayStation spec. So the geometry looks a little bit better here as opposed to the PlayStation version, and everything just has a bit of a sharper and higher poly look to it. And if I recall correctly, when I played most of these rounds, except for a select few, I might have lost once. I think it was like toward the end when I was facing Heihachi, since he's so fast and crazy. He defeated me a few times, and if you saw right there, I actually did that standing fire move. But unfortunately, since it's, as I had mentioned, a standing fire move, the enemy can duck it very easily. So it's kind of hard to actually hit the enemies with that. It's kind of like Yoshi and Mitsu's Sword Slash. If the enemy knows you're about to do the move, they will just avoid it. And if you didn't notice already, the floor of the stage is actually the right floor, whereas the background just isn't rendered because, as I had mentioned, it's probably because of the complex geometry of True Ogre that would cause the game just not to run as smoothly with the backgrounds. But as I was saying, Namco System 12 is a upgraded PlayStation spec, so therefore everything just ends up looking better than it did in the PlayStation version. Although don't get me wrong, the PlayStation version was a very good version of this game by comparison, but this version just tends to look a bit sharper, and everything just tends to run a bit better in this version. So that's why I'd gotten the Namco System 12 board myself, because it's just one of those games that's just so good, it's really worth experiencing it in its, like, for a lack of better terms, more true form without having to have it watered down to be on the console. And now, speaking of Hwalrong, here he is, and I know he defeated me at least once or twice.
Round 2.
And I remember when I first had looked at the PlayStation version versus the arcade version, the thing that made it so easy to tell the difference in the graphics was by comparing the intro, because unfortunately when it comes to comparing any graphics in a game, if it's something that can be like a bit dynamic, like gameplay, it's harder to tell like what the character graphics look like, whereas the intro always looks the same no matter what. So eventually I'm probably going to release a PlayStation versus Namco System 12 and just have them side by side to show exactly what they look like. In fact, that'll be quite easy because I actually still have the footage for the arcade version, so I'll just probably throw that up not too long after this video comes out, just so you can kind of see. It's not a night and day difference, it's just kind of like a little bit of a difference in the actual graphics quality, other than the full 3D backgrounds that this arcade version has when you're not playing as True Ogre. And as you can see, there's the same kind of like jungle floor in Eddie Gordo's stage here, but it just doesn't show like all the trees and everything that you normally see when you play this stage. And for some reason, seeing the fire hit Eddie like that and like his body going all flaming, for some reason it's making me think of Street Fighter 2 when Dalcium throws his fireball at Chun-Li, and then she all of a sudden turns into this really big burning man. And I thought to myself, since Chun-Li's one of like the smallest characters, couldn't they have made like a smaller like burning man, so it looks like it actually was her, not that she transformed into this big like burning mummy type thing. But the good thing is with like these quote-unquote newer 3D games, instead of actually having a burning model, if you will, or burning sprite like the 2D game would use, it actually just takes the fire and puts it on the character's model, so it kind of doesn't look weird, and you can actually tell it's that character burning, not just like some generic burning character to replace your character when they're actually under that effect.
You win.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but when it comes to any kind of like 3D fighting game, I think it's really cool when like part of the character's graphics actually overlay the life bars. It kind of looks like they're like reaching outside of the game, and they're like just going beyond all that GUI stuff. So like when Ogre jumps up at the end there and his horns like kind of go over the life bars, I think that's really cool. And now I believe Heihachi here was one of those battles that actually took me a few times, because it wasn't that high, now it's over 10 minutes. Because unfortunately, Heihachi, especially since we're at like stage non-difficulty, he has like a lot of moves that'll really punish you badly, and he can really like pull them out really quickly. And
Round two. Fight.
anytime it comes to like a boss character like this, if it's a character you're not like really good at, he's gonna really punish you. And that's one thing I always love with Heihachi. When he like gets hurt, he's like, ooh. It's just hilarious. I always laugh when that happens when I'm fighting him.
Final round. Fight.
And of course, when I actually face True Ogre, the stage will look normal like it should, because whenever you're facing True Ogre, it's always just the darkness in the background instead of showing the full 3D background. But I figured I would do this gameplay because I didn't expect the background to be dark like this, but then when I saw it was like that, I was like, hey, I should do a playthrough of this to show what it looks like when you actually play through arcade mode as True Ogre. Plus, honestly, it's really fun to play as True Ogre. I would highly recommend it if you've never tried it. And of course, now I'm thinking of playing Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Unlimited on the Namco's 369 board, where there was the custom True Ogre that kind of looked like, had like the really derpy looking eyes, and I called him Derp the Magic Dragon. But of course, that was that glitch again where Heihachi's body is not actually being held by Ogre. I don't know why he does that sometimes, but it's not all the time, so it's kind of strange. And really, the only way they differentiated Ogre here is they colored his wings a different color. And I can remember when I was playing like this, I was thinking, oh no, now I have to continue, but I didn't realize, of course you get to play twice. So it wasn't a big deal that I gotta face True Ogre again. So I was able to defeat him the second time. But I guess when it came to rendering True Ogre, the game could render him twice. Unless maybe the game simplifies the character model a little bit so it doesn't look as complex as it normally would. And the funny thing is that's actually a new record in this gameplay, because I think what it was is there wasn't a True Ogre record, meaning like the default, which is like 20 minutes or more, was in there. Because most of these games, what they do is they will kind of make it 20 minutes, and then each like record after that is like 20 minutes, 21 minutes, 22 minutes. And it depends on how many True Ogres was up there, but somehow my 12 minutes and 30 seconds here actually ended up getting a record on this board, which is actually cool, because before actually doing this gameplay, I had never been able to enter a high score on this board because the high scores are all so fast. Since just like any arcade game, it goes by how fast you complete like every character all at once. So it was kind of cool to actually be able to enter a high score into one of these Tekken boards. And there, of course, it shows me defeating the other True Ogre. And of course, as I always say, I would highly recommend you play Tekken 3 on either the original arcade board, on your PlayStation Home version, or on the Tekken 5 Arcade History mode. It's a really fun game to play, and I would highly recommend it to everybody. Well, this has been another Game Nexus arcade video, and I'll see you later. Bye.